What's up everybody, Tony here with iTech Check, and today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new robot vacuum made by Robit. This is the V7S Pro model. Now, Robit did send this out to me so I could do this review for you guys today, but everything I'm going to be telling you is totally 100% my experience. I'm going to give you the pros and the cons, but before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and show you everything that comes inside the box. Now, here's the box. It's pretty nice. It's got a great presentation inside. It's very well packed. It's got some foam and everything that comes inside here to keep everything nice and neat for when it's shipped. And then here we have everything that you get inside the box. So first it comes with this little container here that has all the manuals and everything inside of it. And here we have our remote control. It does not come with batteries. It uses two AAAs. It comes with two HEPA filters. This is an extra one. Here we have our little cleaning tool, little brush. You can, clean off the hair or what have you from your robot vacuum. Now it has 4 of these little sweepers. And it comes with an extra set just in case something happens to the first one, which is pretty nice. They're kind of rubbery, and then they have this plastic bristles on the edge. Here is the charging port. You just lay this on the floor and the robot kind of finds its way to here itself to charge. And then here we have the power cord for that base. So I've had about a week to use this vacuum, and now I'm going to go ahead and go over some of the features of it. Like I said, all the pros and cons and my experience that I've had using this over the past week. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the robot real quick itself. So right on the front here, it has this front half of the robot is this pressure plate, and when it runs into anything, it stops, makes a little adjustment, and tries again. It also has a rubber piece on the outer ring that kind of protrudes so it won't mar up anything that it happens to run into. Now, it does have a sensor. If it runs up to a wall, it definitely will sense that there's a wall there, stop, and turn around. Smaller, thinner things it might not see, like a chair leg or something like that, and that's where it may run into the front of the robot, but that's not such a huge deal. Here it's got this nice blue ring around it. Here is the little power button. You push it once to turn it on. You can hold it to make it return to the charger if you want to at any manual time. They also tell you that once it starts its cycle, don't disturb it, pick it up, or move it around or anything, because it is an intelligent robot vacuum. It routes out its little area, and it makes sure that it doesn't go over the same spot again. So it's definitely thorough when it does its little grid. And there's a few options that you have for that, and I'll show you in a second. So on the rear here, there's a little power button. You want to make sure you turn that on as soon as you get the robot. And you can also charge it directly with its little charging port here if you wish. And then you have the little exhaust port that has, where the air comes out of it. On the bottom here, it's got these 2 really big rubber wheels. They're pretty thick. It pretty much goes over everything. They're very grippy. And if it's something that's too tall for it to go over, it will stop and just kind of go around it. Here we have the little mouth. And then here we have our little sweepers. These do just pull right off in case you guys need to, there might be some hair or something twirled around it, and it'll keep it from spinning. I've had to do that once already. There was some hair kind of twirled around. You just pull them off, remove the hair, and push it back on. It's super easy. And then it's got its little charging pads here, and then the little roller ball in the front. And then here we have the little port that you open up to take out the little dust collector. You just kind of pull it out here. It's got that little HEPA filter that comes out. You can also clean this if you like. Very easy to clean out. And it just pushes back in. Okay, so here I want to go over the remote real quick. At the top, we have our power button, and then on the side, this is the little button that tells the robot to go back to its charging port.
Start recharging. Start charging.
Here we have a random mode where it just kind of wanders around and randomly, vacuums up areas.
Start random cleaning mode.
And the middle button here is a little spot section that it does. It just kind of circles around in a very small area for a specific spot that you would like to vacuum. Here's the Wi-Fi button. It doesn't work on this version, but the remote is just kind of for both of the versions. Here we have our little pad. You can make the robot go forward, back, left, and right. There's a play pause button to start it up and pause it. So here we have our grid pattern. If you push this, it'll start its little grid, and it's definitely methodical in the way that it does this. If it kind of won't go over the same spot twice, it'll make sure that it gets every little piece of the floor to suction. I like this mode the best. So if you want something that's going to, pick up pretty much everything and make sure it goes over every part of your floor, this is the one you're going to want to use. This little rain cloud here with the rain doesn't work in this model. Here is the edge mode. If you want to just get the edges of your house on the floor, then use this edge mode, and all it does is go around everything, but it stays on the edge. It doesn't go, kind of out in the middle. And then on the bottom here, we have our two suction modes. You can lower the suction or raise the suction. So as far as the specs go, it has a 600 milliliter container inside that holds all the dust, hair, pieces of, whatever on the floor. So it's good for upkeeping your home, keeping it clean. If you want to run it, maybe every day, every other day or so, you may have to clean it out a little more if you require heavier cleaning. So it's once you've cleaned your house, maybe vacuumed it up good the first time, then you can use this for every other time because it won't be such a huge pickup. But you can, if you want, like I said, you might have to empty out the little dust container a little more than usual. Now the battery should last for about 85 to 100 minutes of cleaning. I have a 2,000 square foot home, and it got to about 3/4 of that area. Now, in all fairness, I didn't move any chairs, anything like that, so it did spend a little time underneath the table trying to get out from the chairs. And they do recommend that you kind of make sure there's not a lot of stuff in its way. You have as much open space as you can, because that will allow it to move to more space in less time, and that will increase the time that it has to clean up everywhere. Now it does work really well on hardwood floors, tile, and kind of like office carpet. They do recommend that the carpet is less than 0.3 inches tall. I did try this on my shag carpet. It did go over it. It was fairly thick, but as soon as it ran into something, it could not turn because the carpet was so thick. Now, another reason why they don't want you to use it on really thick carpet is because of the fibers. The fibers are a lot longer, and they do have the potential to get, kind of wound up in the little sweeper arms here. So that's another reason why I wouldn't recommend you using it on super thick carpet like shag or anything like that. One other thing that I really must stress to everybody is that if you're going to use this, you need to make sure you pick up all the cords off the floor, like your phone chargers. Make sure there aren't any, power cables or anything like that. You don't want really any blankets that have, strings hanging off of them or anything like that, because the robot will run over them and they most likely will get caught up in the sweepers. I had it happen to me a couple times. Thank God nothing got damaged, but it did happen. And if it does get stuck like that, it will stop and shut off to, minimize damage to the robot. Now, it can go over floor mats. You want to make sure that the floor mats are pretty flat. They don't have any curled up edges, and they can't be pushed around very easy. One, if they have a curled up edge, or they can be, pushed up easily, the robot will kind of scrunch them up. It also has the potential to, push it up and then get stuck on top of that rug. So you just want to make sure that the floor mat is kind of in a corner, or it's heavy enough to not get curled up. Now, the company also recommends if you have stairs, you kind of want to put something in front of the stairs to block it off from the robot so the robot does not fall down the stairs. Now, in my experience with my stairs, as soon as it went to the edge of the very top stair, it stopped and backed away. It did it multiple times. It never once went over the edge. It has a little sensor in there so it detects if it's going to fall. But again, use caution. If you want, test it out a little bit. Make sure that somebody's there to catch it just for maybe the first time, or you can just block it off altogether. Another really nice thing is it's low enough to go under beds, cabinets, nightstands, places that you wouldn't really normally clean very often. So I've had it go under my bed, cabinet, nightstand multiple times, and not once did it ever get stuck. So that's another really nice reason to have a robot vacuum, is because it does get under a lot of those places that a huge vacuum can't get, or we never really get to. Now, one of the features I kind of wish that this robot had was an automatic timer setting. So it would kind of start up maybe at night when nobody was around or anything like that, but this does not have that feature. Anytime you want to use it, you must pick up the remote or push the power button to have it start its cycle. But one really cool feature is that when it gets low on battery, it will find its way back to the charger all by itself. Now, if it doesn't have a line of sight to the base, it will wander around until it finds or it has a line of sight to the base. Once it has that line of sight, it will slowly go back to the base and put itself back onto the charger for charging. In my experience, every time that it's gotten low battery, it's always found its way back to the charger. Now, as far as how loud it is, the only way I can really describe it is if you were in a room and somebody was vacuuming in another room. It's kind of muffled, but you can still hear it. It's not really loud, but you definitely notice that it's there. Another thing that I noticed that is if you're using it on carpet, for it to pick up some larger pieces, it may need to go over that same spot a few times, but if you're using a regular vacuum, sometimes you have to go over the same spot anyway to pick something up. It doesn't have a very large mouth on it. It's kind of maybe about this big. If it was a little wider, I think it might be able to pick up a wider range of things, but because of the mouth is so small, it may have to go over certain spots more than one time, but it is very thorough in its way that it does vacuum its space. So another thing I was really curious about is I wanted to know if the robot did the same pattern every time you started it up from the same starting position. So I recorded 2 videos, as you can see here, one on the left and one on the right, and they do seem to differ each time I started up the robot from the same spot. So that's pretty much it, guys. Having this robot vacuum, this is the very first robot vacuum I've ever had. I really love it. It's been really great because it cleans up a lot of the small spaces that we usually don't get to, and it minimizes on the time that we have to spend during our weekend actually vacuuming. So I think it's definitely worth it. And this one is pretty cool, especially for the price point that it's at. Now, it's not currently released. It's going to be released soon. And as soon as it gets released, and I have a link for you guys, I definitely will be putting it in the description below. So whenever you view this video, make sure you check the description just to make sure that that link is there, and not in case you guys want to purchase it yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that little notification bell to let you guys know when I put out new videos. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.